Into the Nexus is a production of amove.tv. Bookmark Amove TV for other great video games and esports podcasts. Into the Nexus is sponsored by listeners like you via patreon.com/ITN. Greetings and welcome back, everyone, to Into the Nexus, the podcast all about Heroes of the Storm. I'm Garrett Weinzierl, joined, as I always am, you know this by now, by Kyle Fergusson. Welcome back, Kyle.
It's good to be here, Garrett, on this confusing day.
You're just going right into it, aren't you?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm confused on if I am confused or not. I'm not so certain I am actually confused.
Yes. It is a big time for Heroes of the Storm. We have a brand new preseason. It is a new season, as they often are, with the usual kinks, but brand new ones with the Storm League. And it is just weird. You know, this is a show that I like facts, but this show is going to be a little more off the cuff. This is going to be a little more, I don't want to say personal or emotional. That sort of sets a tone, but this is going to be a show with a little bit of confusion on top because there is a lot happening and we don't have data nor a official response from Blizzard. What is happening?
We've gotten some official responses. Certain things that are strange about this update have been directly addressed by folks over at Blizzard. But everything else, yeah, you're right. I think anecdotal is the best. We're going to do a podcast, Kyle. We're going to talk. We're going to be humans and have a human conversation and do a thing that a lot of people sometimes just call a podcast. I mean, yes, you and I do like our hard statistics. And you're right. We don't have any to look at right now. Not enough games have been logged. Not enough of you are running your HOTS uploader. You know, there's only so much that we can work with. It is worth pointing out that the main landing page of HOTS is still a nice big pull from everything. But if you try to use filters right now, Godspeed.
Yeah, not enough information since Tuesday to really go in there. Plus, I mean, HOTS is the most swingy I've ever seen it, which really speaks to the returning player base. There are 9% and 5% swings on some of these characters that are just nutty.
I didn't notice that, but you're right. You're 5% uptick in win percentage. Still at a 47%, but that's closing the gap to 50% relatively quickly from where she used to be.
Yeah, I mean, things like the Haka having a big shine. My games have been almost exclusively Brightwing, which I think speaks to the player base. You know, people who can now declare themselves supports have always loved Brightwing, her character, her play style, and they now get to call that for themselves, you know, not be taken away by some Lily or some, well, I'm going to try Alexstrasza today.
I like it. Dude, I will say, I think both of us were pretty cold to this whole idea of being able to assign two icons to display the role you would like to play. But in a week where, I'm going to be honest, I've had a rough go of it. I have not enjoyed my time with Heroes of the Storm this week. In a week that has been marred by me going, is something wrong, or is this how it's always been and I'm just sick of how it's always been? I've been the one takeaway, well, two takeaways, but the big thing is that the role selector I really like, and I think has had an overall very positive effect on this game.
Yeah, it is a force. My games, all of my placements had pre-showing the likes of which I've never seen. Everybody getting in position, showing their picks, having side picks in similar veins and roles. It was quite incredible, really. I did have to make one, mental shift for my allies. I had to play a little bit of mind games with it. Originally, like I said last week, I was going to be tank and then bruiser. But I kept ending up in this current chaotic meta, solo Johanna for backline, solo Arthas for backline. Like people just being like, oh, he's a tank main. well, that means he wants to World of Warcraft and be out there by himself. Well, let's let him do that. No, by making a simple switch of saying, I'm a bruiser tank, people went, maybe Arthas doesn't want to be alone. Maybe he's a solo lane. Maybe we should give him another tank, maybe even a thrall to just back him up in there.
That's a hard anecdote for me to swallow. I think you just got lucky, but
I think it worked. I think that simple switch made a pretty big change in my games.
That's fair. I honestly should probably switch. So I went tank, ranged assassin. I should probably switch that tank to a bruiser, even though I do think of a Nubarak as relatively tanky, but that's just me going, I will first pick the Nubarak. That is the only thing I am doing there. But I think bruiser is a better idea because that means I want follow-up. I want someone to do something with the beautiful spread I just laid out for everyone.
Yeah, there is that habit. Too many ranged assassins. I'm, of course, seeing these reports too, these tweets and Reddit posts from lower leagues as well, that everybody's assassin and no one wants to do the hard work in front job. And it happens to us all.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly how I feel right now, is that it's tanking is a fool's errand, it feels to me at the moment.
I went a flat 50-50 in all my games this week. I am just breaking even. I had amazing, great, solid games, probably maybe 3, and like 2 of those were losses. Just like really good, like the kind of games that just feel great. The rest of them were all a little swingy, which is 100% new season fodder. You destroy, you get destroyed. And I did have one game with a feed Leoric, which was just sad. And I will say to my 4 companions in that fine game, we were gentlemen. We finished that game in 7 minutes. And we all reported that Leoric. We didn't fart around. Nobody farmed nothing. We ended that damn game and let them move on with their day.
You gentlemanly gave up?
No. They had a feed Leoric that was sitting in our fort range.
Gotcha.
We got a 3-level lead, and on the first objective, we just went ahead and ended it.
I'm so sorry.
It was gross, and there's a lot of the stuff going around like now. Lots of reports of people saying that the best players are, they're embroiled. It's not even that our great players left. They're still all here. They're still just excited as everybody else, but there is a lot of trolling and a lot of returning players who don't quite know how our metas evolved since HGC cancellation.
Yeah, I mean, you're already getting more specific than I would get. Where my head is at right now is, so I had just awful games this week, to the point where I'm gonna little confessional here, Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
I got put in lever jail for the first time in the history of this game this week.
Yeah. Shame on you for abandoning it. But
I could not take it.
This is the time period. And I want this whole conversation today be inside that bubble. And we can poke out of it. We can say, now, this is extra weird. And things are a little extra weird right now. In particular, our community heads, or what we previously knew as our main streamers, casters, the pillars of a community, the talking heads, are being a little weird right now. And it does have a sort of trickle-down effect in the community's mindset of what the game is. There's a lot of people who went on to variety streaming and are kind of, this is our nice little hero's house. We decorate it. We put up our walls. We redid the floor, It looks good. We're still enjoying our house. And they're just throwing up in the door sometimes and being like, hey, your game sucks, and then slamming the door. And you're like, well, what was that? What was that? What? You popped in for 6 hours stream and you say my game sucks and then you leave? And then everyone reports on how you said it sucks? It's a little frustrating at the moment.
Yeah, I find it pretty annoying myself. I don't really know what to say about that. But where I was going with all of that is you're getting kind of specific, and what I'm trying to figure out is I'm seeing a lot of complaints about this update. A lot of shade being thrown in Storm League's direction and this update as a whole, and I think everyone just needs to chill the hell out, because I had a terrible time to the point where I left some games, and I'm saying that not to be like, how cool am I? I just left the games. Be gone, scrubs. You're too shite to for me to bother with even giving you 5 more minutes of my time to finish the game out. It's to illustrate just what a horrible time I had, because I never leave games. And so I came out of it like furious, Kyle. Like, I'm mad. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. This is a bad update. Storm Lake's horrible. And then I stopped and think about it for a second. I'm like, well, hold on. How long have you been doing this? Well, Into the Nexus is over 250 episodes. There's 52 weeks in a year? I'm forgetting how many weeks are in a year now. Anyways, we've been doing this for about 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay. 5 years of covering this game. And I put on my historian hat, Kyle, and realized that this has more or less been my experience at the beginning of any season.
Yes. That is really important to state, that this is kind of the way things go. And for me, as someone who is currently evolved into sort of a main tanking role, it is chaotic. You know, it's not the pretty game I wanted it to be. I am looking for raid, if you will, rather than my own guild at the moment. I'm used to structure, I'm used to positions, and that goes out the window. It makes for a different kind of interesting game. With the role declaration, I feel more trapped in that role because that's what I become comfortable with, and I want to show my best performance to my allies who have also shown their role. But this is also the time period where it's okay to say, maybe we'll practice something else. Maybe instead of that, you know, for example, maybe that Malthiel game for the 100th time, maybe I'll work on that Thrall for a little bit. And this is the time to do those sort of things. And that's okay.
Yeah, to a certain degree. I still have a lot of anxiety around it. And so the place my brain goes, and I don't know how helpful it is, though, is places like Reddit, the forums, whatever. Pick your place of soapboxing, right? There's so many people with opinions on how to work on the game, how to fix it, and I have never seen an honest-to-God conversation about placement players and their effect on the beginning of new seasons. People that just show up every 3 months, have no idea what the meta is, haven't kept up with the game, probably farted around on Murky and Quick Match for the last 3 months. Now they're back in a draft environment with no game knowledge, and just throwing a giant monkey wrench into everything the rest of us have been learning. And I don't have an answer for that, but I'm just curious why that's never really been brought up before.
It's an interesting symptom of a season hype machine and the excitement of placements and where you might end up. You do tend to get some skills over even if you went and did nothing but Quick Match Murky, you're now curious in this new system to see where that Quick Match Murky might take you. And you know, there's a draw there. There's also no when you lose. There's no sadness. For 10 games, you are sadness free. As long as you don't have a memory that's active and thinking about the previous game for too long, you can just move the heck on with your day. And that is maybe a little bit of this disaster that happens because of it. There is a desire to marathon these things. And I know I did, because I want them gone. But that also means game 7 maybe didn't see my best version of me because I might have been tired by then. And in general in Reddit, I always am really careful with it. It is the opinion of people who are currently not playing this game. Either they're on break, worse, they're at work and they have all sorts of other frustrations. Maybe they're sneaking it and that causes stress as well. Like there's a lot of extra stresses that go into a Reddit post and you're not even currently enjoying the game. How many Reddit posts do you think are made during a queue? Probably very few, because you're home now. You're eating a snack. You got some spaghetti. You know, you're chilling at home. Yeah.
So that's just where I'm at. To me, it seems to be a glaring issue. You know, obviously with the obvious bias towards we do the show. I would like to do my placements as soon as possible and report on it on the show. But I just don't want to.
Well, there's an improvisation that comes with it when it comes to placements. You got to be really free in your mind. And as someone who I know did main tanking in World of Warcraft, as someone who really enjoys structure and a good match, that sounds like an awful experience for you. I enjoy a bit of the whimsy a little bit and getting a little weird and maybe, you know, working on that thrall instead during that time period. And I do have to force that thought on myself as well. I'm not immune to the tilt of this situation. It is really jarring to be just feeling like an amazing Arthas, amazing Johanna, and just feel disrespected by my backline's positioning as a solo frontline. Why? You see these posts come up and say, how do I deal with Butcher's OP? How do I deal with them in bronze? This is a trash character. And the answer is you hide in a bush until something else happens. How do I deal with Kerrigan? You make sure you're not the one that's left first. But that is a boring strategy. And it's not apparent in the face of OP.
Yes. Yeah. My issue at the moment is I can't make it through the draft without just deflating.
There's certainly that. I mean, you are, I am battling in Plat 1 right now, which is we'll get to that in a moment, but there was a squish and odd things happen with the MMR. But Plat 1 is also like all of Diamond as well.
Plat 1 is also all of Diamond. Okay. Gotcha.
Because there was a squish that happened. But it's not clean. It's very messy right now. But the basic goal was to make Diamond 5 and Plat 1 the cap where you could get to in a placement. So you could enjoy climbing on the other side. That sounds nice, right? You know, Hearthstone players, you got to climb again. Okay. You know. And at the same time, you could squish down anybody who got carried too high. And now in this new system, they'd have to prove themselves in the world that Storm League, Team League, Hero League combined has made. So everybody's kind of squished in here. It makes for really crazy games. But I'm also getting teamed up with old Grandmasters, Plats as they were, and everyone in between.
Yeah, yeah. And so you're kind of getting to why I brought up what I'm calling placement players, people that only play their 10 placement games and then disappear for 3 months, is that in the lead up to this combination, and there's just so much focus put on boosted players. We have to combat the boosted players. What are you going to do about boosted players ruining my games? And I'm like, are you paying any attention? Like, at least they've been playing. At least they've been playing the game and seeing the drafts and seeing how this game is currently played. Why are you sitting there focused on that when you know this is going to be a bunch of freaking like Sunday drivers coming out to just crap all over everything we've built?
Right. I mean, that's why perhaps in a new age of gaming, battle royales have been so effective. Is if you suck, well, there's room for you. You're the trash in the fodder, and
it's very binary.
It's matchmaking.
Yeah, it's extremely binary, and this so it starts to get into like larger philosophical discussions that have been happening over the entire 5 years of Heroes of the Storm. You know, like you can't really carry because of the way the game works, and so on and so forth. And I don't want to get into that.
I know, but it is very interesting, right? Like, what's our best comparison? Is it like World of Warcraft, and you've been raiding the entire expansion, and a new one comes out, and all these nubs went into your guild, and you know they're gonna leave in 3 months, just like I did. Sorry, Jason. Like, I I wasn't gonna be there the whole time. I left, and I feel bad about it. But is that what this feels like? Or did we make a game with so much freedom that it is disastrous to have this sort of reset system in the first place? Look at something like Falstad, very popular character right now. If you Falstad in my game, I'm going to assume a certain level of Falstad. And granted, it's mostly there in my league. You rotate well, you soak a lane distant, you fly up for the Sky Temple thing. Great. I love seeing that. But the choice between Hinterland, Blast, and Gust is a really big one. And let's not even forget that you could just do a bad build along the way. You don't stack lightning talents with your bribe you took. You end up not liking Boomerang, but you could build complete. Jaina is a great example, someone that can just be built horribly. Like, you can overinvest in mana regen on Jaina and end up with infinite mana, but no damage. There's also a really high uptick in the number of people taking area on Blizzard, which if you play a lot, you're seeing someone take area on Blizzard and you're like, well, you could just aim better. You don't need a bigger Blizzard if you just put it in the proper spot. So did we make our game this difficult to come back to? And Zeratul, another example, Void Prison gets you yelled at. If you're a casual player, I'm going to go for double blinks. I'm going to go for double, Might of the Nerazim plays because I get to enjoy myself a little bit rather than get critiqued for half the game about my previous Void Prison. I feel the same way about Mighty Gust. If instead Falstad had one ult and he came out and he had Mighty Gust, people would take Falstad for Mighty Gust, not as a ranged spell damage dealer. And we might be in a different scenario.
There's a lot to unpack there.
It is. It's a big thought, but it is very interesting.
Yeah. And I don't know. And I don't know how healthy any of this is. I just know that I just needed some heroes therapy at the beginning of this episode.
And I'm saying that is 100% fine. That is
cool.
Human. These are tumultuous times. Do not let it dissuade you from enjoying the game in 2 weeks when they're gone or sorted into different places, or we have another reset that brings people back. This preseason, which is currently listed for 4 months at the bottom of the screen, is going to be so messy. And I am eager to see Blizzard's report on how they felt it went and what they're going to change.
Yeah, and I don't know. But at the moment, I would be happy to sit through a very long queue time to not play with anyone that hasn't been in a ranked mode for 3 months. And go away.
But there's a lot of people saying this got me interested in ranked again. I get to play the hero I want. I'm a healer main, and here I am getting to enjoy myself finally.
Cool. I'll see you after your placements.
Yeah, maybe. There's a lot of little bits here. Yeah. Anecdotally, I am loving Chromie.
I haven't played her. I had such a, to me, this whole update, like Chromie is something I'll get to in a week or two. There's so much else in this update that I was more interested in. And that being said, I have played against a Chromie every game this week.
Wow. Wait, in rank 2?
Yes. Well, I only did the one ranked game. It made me rage so hard. I went to quick match.
Sure.
So I've been in quick match all week, and yes, the Chromie was. I was against the Chromie in ranked, and just wiped the floor with us. And it has continued in quick match. I've been doing better, but like my first 3 games I played this week, new Chromie is legit.
She's super cool. I've got 3 quick matches, all wins. I'm loving her, having a great time. I love the time trap. I love setting up the multi. I always go for the 3 sand illusions. Just having a grand old time. And I've heard from every Chromie main out there that this update is horrible. And I'm like, yeah, and they killed my Asmodan. This is my turn. Watch me play the thing that you hate now.
Yeah, that's kind of what Dragon's Breath is just scary, man.
Yeah.
It's just scary. It made me stop playing Rexar because I'm too busy microwaving my bear. I'm just eating Dragon's Breaths. It's rough. But to me, she feels great. Like she feels like a real part of the team.
Yes, and the ability to actually knock out some lane clear is much needed. Of course, lots of people have been talking about the homogenization of the 3 jumps on like the Gaul, like your corruptions. It equals counterplay, so maybe there could have been a more creative way for Blizzard to introduce counterplay into Chromie, but it's doing the job that it needed to, and it is very welcome.
Right. I mean, I don't know. There's similarity between other characters and abilities as well. It doesn't really bother me that much. Also, how often are you really seeing Cho or Gaul right now?
Yeah.
But it just seems intuitive and helpful and actually a good kit. So I like it.
I am not sold on Lucio though. Still, I did not change that tone.
No, I think he's terrible. I don't want to play him, and I don't want to see him on my team.
His win rate's up a tiny bit, almost 1% during this chaotic time. I see almost everybody doing level 7 reverse amp for a little bit of damage and slow, which is nice to see as part of the kit. I'm seeing mostly high 5 because it's new. It not bringing home that bacon, perhaps, at the moment. It feels pretty weird. But like I said, Brightwing mains are just, it's Brightwing, Lucio, and then Alex Strauss, and that's it. Anna and Lily are getting banned though, so maybe that's restricting.
Yeah. I'm glad to see Brightwing getting some love. That was another part of kind of what tilted me in my draft scenarios. It was like, oh, Lily, joy.
Yeah, Lily's good. What it means is often not great, which is we got the secondary, I truly believe, and thank you for this, Blizzard, if true, that the flexible symbol looks like a snowflake. And y'all flexibles, you freak me out a bit, you know? I know you want to play anything under the sun, and I am open to you showing early and then being like, you know what? That Rainer doesn't really match anymore what we need. I'm going to go Zarya. Ooh. And I'm like, ooh, how interesting. You watch the draft. What I'm actually seeing you do, though, is eating that sandwich for the first 10 minutes and then last 5 seconds of the draft being like, Sergeant Hammer. And I'm like, well, I could have used a story along the way. Just a little bit of journey with you. How you reach that moment.
Yeah, I'm with you. I was looking at this being like, well, this is going to introduce new ways to tilt us, right? Because we're going to have expectations, and those expectations won't be met, and yada, yada, yada. But in reality, people were doing that before anyway. People were just not showing anything and just sitting and just sitting and just sitting, and the countdown would go, and you would start panicking, and they would pick something strange that you could have built around, that you could have synergized with, but they never showed it. So,
yeah.
All it is now is, maybe you've got a little early warning. It's just like, okay, well, I just have to prepare for a wild card.
But you can skip the selection as well, which now that I enjoy the system is sad. And I don't know why you wouldn't select it. Maybe you missed it. It's not required, so you can actually miss the little buttons there below your wins as to how you can choose, which is your primary and secondary role. But just going in there with nothing, that's rude.
Yep. But again, Chromie seems to be working. I like the class select or the role selection overall. I dig it.
Yeah.
So, anyways, let's do a more formal news talk, shall we? And actually, use a bumper.
Absolutely.
We're on, boys! Ha-ha! Let's liven up this place!
The moment is upon us.
Yes, I'd mana tap that.
So Storm League is live, and it did come with some odd bugs. A lot of high-ranking players placing pretty low, being very vocal about it. And it appears to have been a bug.
Yes, particularly for the EU, there was a rather large bug that if you played within the first hour of the patch, you ended up with a mismanaged MMR, which caused all subsequent placement games to be locked into that misselected MMR, which was usually around like the gold mark.
Yeah, they said they weren't seeded correctly. It sounds like it was roughly 300 players were affected by this, according to Blizz Daybringer. And Daybringer said, we currently have a list of the affected accounts and are planning to deploy a fix on this afternoon. So hopefully that was fixed for them. Speaking of Daybringer, there was still conversation and concerns about taking the highest MMR from whatever league had the higher number and using that for seeding. And Daybringer got in and was talking about that. The reason that they were okay with that is that both current leagues is because that they plan to clamp the high end of the player base, and that, quote, the exact clamp position is still subject to change, but they are currently targeting an MMR equivalent of Diamond 5.
Okay, this is where things need a response, because this was a little shocking when I completed my placements and ended up Platinum 1 from Diamond 2. And, if we're doing a squish, that's good to know. The official note that was added inside the patch notes from last week stated, the starting matchmaking rating in Storm League will be seeded from players' last known Hero League or Team League MMR, whichever is greater. The resulting value will then be clamped within a certain range to reel in outliers. That was what was added to the notes that posted on Tuesday. But 10 days ago now, we saw what that number actually was in a Reddit post, nay, a Reddit response from Blizz Daybringer, stating that the goal target of this clamp was Diamond 5, being the highest. So, okay, we weren't informed that you were going to do your placements, and if you were above Diamond 5, you were going to be moved down. And of course, awesome, right? Yeah, I basically placed Diamond 1. I'm thrilled in the old system because, yeah, Grandmaster should be Diamond 5. And if you put me in Plat 1, well, hell yeah, all right, feeling pretty good about myself. But I didn't know this, and nothing told me about this. So all I saw was a big pile of homework suddenly dropped in my lap after last season's fantastic performance. I do declare myself. And it was very sad until I researched and figured out this information. But it's not clean. There are players placing into Masters with 100 or 834 points. There are people making Diamond 2s, Diamond 3s. And figuring out what that system is, what allowed this to happen, isn't clear. There does seem to be some sort of influence of from Hero League. If you were a Hero League solo grinder, you had a higher chance to end up in higher Diamond. If you played Limited Team League, you had a higher chance to end up in that higher Diamond. If you did a lot of group play, and in particular, if your account could be suspect for doing some smurfery, which I was because of Bonanzas, because of playing with Rainbow Leagues and playing with friends, then you were purposely moved down to make sure that that wasn't you cheating the system. Now, that all sounds like it might be okay, but now we have Plats who were Plat ending up in Diamond and some crazy swings all around. If you were Silver and you're now in Gold, you feel great. That's pretty natural. And I congratulate you on your placement. You probably earned it. But there are some crazy stuff going on right now, and Plats are still Plat on top of it. So we didn't take the Plat population, put them in Gold to sort of make this squish happen so the Plats can enjoy climbing, the previous Plats. Now I'm playing with Grandmasters and Plats in one big pile, and it's pretty weird.
But weren't you having pretty weird games last season too? Just a couple weeks ago, you're talking about you're getting flown in constantly to just kind of even things out.
Right. And in that case, it was the main player base, and it was understandable for what it was. You know, we had, let's say, a Plat and a Grandmaster together. Bam, smack them together. You get yourself a Diamond 2. Let's fly in the Diamond 2 to help out in this game here. And that had some logic to it. When placements come in, I can't see the logic. I'm playing with that guy who had really short games, who's Plat 3, but he's Grandmaster. You know, I was playing with the Turk _ this week, and he was Plat 3 below me. And I get Plat 1. That doesn't sound right anymore. Granted, he was gone for the season, but he's still got the skills to rock a Lost Viking. So what's the story?
It is certainly murky, and I don't mean the Murloc.
Yeah, we need to find out what the puzzle is here and what caused this bounce around to happen. Yeah, and it's just kind of it's a bummer, right? Because it feels like we have been struggling with the quality of the matchmaker for essentially the lifetime of this game. But most specifically, like the last 2 years. You think to the holiday of 2017 rolling into 2018, and the performance-based matchmaking, just insanity that happened. Yeah, it was tragic. It was tragic for the state of the game from all that excitement built around BlizzCon. In fact, Here's the Storm, by golly, has some of the worst holiday seasons post-BlizzCon of any game I've ever seen. Just the hype that we're able to build into just a horrendous fall of how the dominoes stack together. Just it is a little sad, and this feels like another bit of that sadness, that history coming to life. Yeah. Which, if you love the game, doesn't matter the most, because then they're going to leave, but we don't want them to leave. We want them to stay, improve, and enjoy their time in our game and become mains again. And us all to enjoy Heroes of the Storm for being such an awesome game. Instead, we kind of go through these ebb and flows. And that's why I'm really curious about things like the variants. Falstad, Hinterland Blast, and Mighty Gus. Are these issues with the game? Is the variance so high that you come back in your Kerrigan, you don't really lose those skills too much. Muscle memory is very powerful. You do one quick match, you might be ready for some ranked play. But have you ever fought Uther right wing as Kerrigan? It is horrible. It's a very different story, and you have to have the patience of a god who's not playing video games for fun. You have to count out every ability to actually pull off something that is just feels near impossible in the first place. Kerrigan, you're maining her 10 games in a row for placements. Game 1, you're a god. Game 2, you fight that exact comp, Uther Brightwing, and everyone's telling you how much you suck. I think the matchmaker is actually decently accurate during the core of the season. There's just a lot of human variance. And without a game like League of Legends, without Dota to say, here's all these options, but shut up, there's one build, we end up in a very random experience.
Right. And because you go exacerbated by the beginning of the new season and returning players that have been gone for a while.
Exactly. And that's why I love Heroes of the Storm, because when I enjoy that game, I enjoy picking Jaina early, let's say, in this scenario, and then going, ooh, where am I going? Oh, splash damage, toads. Oh, no water elemental now because it'll die. Oh, look at this ring. That's pretty cool. Wait, Diablo, he likes ring. Okay, let's evolve this way. And I'm going to change my build to match these scenarios. And in that way, I believe that Heroes of the Storm has a much stronger draft, a much more interesting draft for the players, because you look at the other games and you're going to lead with the same old crap over and over again, because that Lycan for Dota has one build. And I haven't looked in a while. Don't worry about it. Don't correct me. It's fine. But he's got one item build out of
and then he becomes a better Lycan, and then I put him with other warriors, and he moves across my chessboard and gets an armor buff.
Right. Well, yeah, we could use that example as well. Like, you might want to lead with a certain style in auto chess because it's stronger than just getting whimsical and doing whatever the hell you want.
Yeah. It's So I guess evolving my statements from the beginning of the show is like, what I'm kind of curious about is, I feel like over the course of this game, you and I have kind of always come back around to draft is wacky at the beginning of the season. We should probably just wait. Let's just enjoy some quick match. We used to go to Team League. That's not an option anymore. So on and so forth. I don't think I want that to be the answer. Like, I guess my hope for the game is that I want, at the beginning of a new season, all of us would be like, yes, fists in the air and go in and have a great time. I guess I'm not sure if it is that important. Like, how much of it is like just a selfish desire, like what I would like to see for the game, is it also important? Like, do we think it's important that you should want to dive in head first day one of the new season?
And I don't want the core of the game to change, but I think these are the issues that might be keeping our game down, which is a question to pose. I don't have an answer. I certainly don't want them to go, well, Entomb for everybody then. No more March of the Dark King. Because there's that one game where there's so many stuns, and there's no way you're going to get an Entomb that does anything because you'll be locked down the whole time, and being unstoppable for March of Leoric's King, it's a great pick, and it feels great, and it looks great, and that makes the game unique. You know, what about that one game you do Locust on because there's not really a good cocoon target? Everyone's doing about the same level of damage. Those happen, and they feel awesome.
Oh, I love it. I love that I have that option, especially on Braxis right now. It's like, oh, yeah, they're clumpy. All right, I'm just gonna sustain through it. Just gonna get on the pad and go.
Right.
Yeah, and it's not like every hero has this variance, right? Like, not every hero in the game, but some have a much stronger pendulum swing.
Right, like Tracer, how do you want to do damage? It's not going to vary much. You're going to land a bomb, and maybe you got to thinking that you want a wider bomb because people are grouped up, or you want to kill the tank with it. Like, you're succeeding in the same job.
Yeah, or look at Rexar right now, really popular hero, not a major win rate difference between his two heroics.
And one of the big reasons I bring this up is because there is an argument happening in those community leaders right now that our players don't care. And I can sure as hell tell you they do. There is a desire, a human desire, for everyone to improve things that they enjoy. You're milling grain. You want to learn how to mill grain better. You want to end an hour earlier. You want a better mill. You know,
could you have picked a more obscure anecdote?
I probably could,
or analogy,
but I'm just trying to think of something simple from the past.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure. I was gonna, pick an instrument.
And I feel like we are making headway with something like the role selection in order to have this dialogue ahead of time. I think that players are more scared of being yelled at in the game that's been declared casual for them than their desire to do the perfect build for you.
I'm currently scared of not being able to draft with my friends. That's where my fear is coming from.
That is a 100% piece of this therapy that is very important. It's really sad. And we're going to see really bad It's causing an issue. It really is, because if you haven't placed, you can be with anybody. So if you are silver and you got plat friends, you might make a smurf. Not because you want a smurf. You just want to play with your friends. And you did your 10 games together. Got silver. Can't play anymore. Let me go to my smurf. And we just cause the same issues to happen more often. They've done a great job trying to address issues. And so often they avoid the obvious pitfalls when making these systems. It's more complex than we can even imagine.
Right. It may seem like an obvious issue, but it probably doesn't have a simple answer.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I haven't thought about these things in a while, and now I'm back thinking about them. But
now's the time.
Yeah.
Just because they're going to enter your head one way or another.
Yep. There were some other minor patch changes. They adjusted quests that were obviously role specific to match the new roles. Like Specialist Daily is gone now. Rest in peace. Pour one out. Actually, played
if you had it, you got gold. And that was, you know what? That was really cool of you, Blizzard. You didn't have to do that.
Yeah. If you had it in your quest log when it was removed, they just gave you the gold.
Yeah. That's neat.
Yep. I actually played a ton of Cigar today. First time in a while. I was just like, because I was in just such a rut. I'm like, I don't care. I don't care about win rates or being meta. I'm just going to play something I know I can dodge crummy with and get mercenary camps because I wanted to work on my event quest. So that's what I did. And it was fun.
Nice.
Yeah. AI continues to be a problem as it would appear.
Yes.
Yeah. Still some issues. Not going to get into the nitty-gritty. They're still working on it, but there's still quite a few errors with the way the AI behaves.
There was some data mine on this, which is actually pretty interesting. Things like Dragonshire objective priority increased by 10 to 25% based on the hero, or pushing lanes priority reduced by 40%. So those AIs all out on their lonesome, pushing deep in enemy territory, they will desire it by 40% less. And all right, I'm really happy about this one. Altar Hearth's priority decreased from 60% health to 40% health. That's a really big deal.
I like this stuff is so deep and nerdy, but I really would like to talk to someone who's in charge of AI behavior, because I'm kind of curious how they decide where to put these and where to push and pull.
And we're always talking about, how we can educate the player base, or how cool would it be if there was a game mode that was more co-op-y that you could learn the game in. Watching a computer, you have AI teammates, you're playing Sylvanas because you love her from World of Warcraft. Sylvanas, great, how fun. And you watch your AI thrall get to 60% health and go, I'm going, here I go back to the altar. And your brain goes, so if I'm missing 40% of my health, I should Hearth. And I would say, no, the number of Rainbow games I've played, I'm going to throw you under the bus. I'm going to throw everybody I play with under the bus. If the whole enemy team is dead and you start Hearthing, I'm dying inside because nothing can kill you. There is nothing scary. I mean, okay, Braxis and there are catapults. Those things are dangerous and they are mess the hell up, Blizzard. Those things are devils. There's no arc on the shot. It's on the ground in half a second. Those things are screwy, and I hate them, and I will totally Hearth before I engage that lane. But anything else, you can dodge a catapult. It's going to be okay.
Thank you for making me feel better about dying to those things.
Yeah, everybody does because they're stupid. So wrong.
They're cyclones, aren't they?
Cyclones, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, they're scary in actual StarCraft too.
When they did the periodic catapults, I was on this show saying, great, what are you going to do about Braxis? Because it's messed up, mate.
And the answer is nothing, apparently.
Nothing. You're going to spawn periodics just like you did, and those things are hellish.
Glad you brought that up. And then there was quite the lengthy post. Who is this by? Is it Brett Crawford?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and it was interesting because it was a reply to the Ghost Dunk post that we mentioned a couple weeks ago now. This is the first week of March. That was titled, it was over on Heroes Hearth. It was titled, What Statistics and Machine Learning Can Teach Us About the Gameplay Changes in Heroes of the Storm. And Ghost Dunk went and did a really cool post using data from HOTS logs, so on and so forth. But Brett Crawford replied to it in a very lengthy post on the official forums, and kind of like, I feel like just kind of disregarded everything in Ghost Dunk's post.
Yes. The interesting and twisted is a strong word.
The spin. This feels spun to me.
The reason this is so spun is because it is showing the success of the 2019 experience change, or compared to the 2018 update. But it doesn't talk at all about 2017 when we lost tower ammo. So it's missing a whole category that we were wondering, were our games closer in the past in 2017? And instead we got a report on, well, 2019 is better than 2018. And it illustrates that well. Gaps are down. In fact, the thing I really like about this is they make a point that the gap is perhaps at its strongest 9 to 10. We all remember last year, 8 to 12, 9 to 11. It was brutal. You hid for 5 minutes of the gameplay. That's a lot of game. That's a sixth of your game gone. Now, if they have 9, we can, it's objective time. Farm. Okay, we can still poke this objective with our long range, and we can get in there and participate with heroics. They're not 11 on us. Now we're both 10. I agree that we have reached a point where, and I really like trickle XP. I think there's a great strategy to farming buildings to, when we lock in on a building, we get it. When 3 Garden Terrors or Screaming Orcs on Wolfback come running down, they farm all the walls. I don't feel like I'm 4 levels down and disaster has struck. The walls don't really matter. In fact, I've seen Sylvanas stack the whole team into a bottom lane and they get that front wall and they all run and going, yay! And I'm like, you did nothing. Those weren't worth anything. Grats. Yes, they access that later on, but still, it's nice to not have an XP advantage for those things in a jump way. They defended their stance a year ago. We wanted to see them defend their stance from 2 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. My kind of concern was one, I was just shaking my fist like, where's 2017? Also, we're only 3 months into 2019. Comparing 3 months to a year. But yeah, they're like missing the point, and every way that success is measured outside of the chart, just in like the tone of this entire post is, well, we succeeded with our goals. At no point does this call into question if their goals were the right damn goals. So
yeah.
I'm just like, yeah, you can be successful when you create the rules. And you frame it in that way. So I was just so annoyed by this.
Yeah, the DMs just killed the party and said we won. And we're like, well, of course you won.
Yeah, I'm just going, I would like to cast API, please.
It's an interesting post. It's worth reading and certainly worth going back. We have links in the show notes over at amove.tv to all this information. definitely check out Ghost Dunk's old post, which is based on basically end of game statistics. So we did get a bigger glimpse at what the XP difference looks like per level. And as I mentioned, the heroic squeeze is very strong. I will agree with Blizzard there. I like this new system in that way.
The heroic squeeze?
Yeah, making sure that we stay within a level around 10. And I think the frequency we get to 20 is really nice because you've built an advantage. There are those situations where things can feel a little broken. You've got everything. You lose the level 20 fight, they get one Alterac pass objective, and they're able to go core. That's still really messy. But for the most part, you earned your loss. Yeah, you died all at 20, but also you've got an opening right there. Keep going in the bottom lane. You lose. Should end.
Yeah. No, I'm with you there as well, and I think it's easy for a lot of the pushback against comments like these to get kind of rooted in the feel good, feel bad moment, because I definitely have games where we're dominating and it feels like we should be dominating more. And I go, God, this system, sometimes it just irritates the hell out of me. I'm like, we have double kills and we're within like half a level of each other. I'm like, how? How is that a thing? But I remember being on the other side of the burst XP, which is, to use Brett Crawford's own terminology. I remember being on the opposing side of that snowball and just getting rolled over and feeling like there was no chance. So I don't think everything about the new system is bad at all. There's quite a bit I do like, but you're right. I'm kind of lazy. I'm pretty laser focused on the omission of the discussion of ammo here.
It's such a hot topic to want to go back to when the game was perhaps in its heyday of esports as well. So we have to remove our rose-colored glasses as to what we thought ammo was. One of the big troubles with ammo is that it couldn't exist alongside the summoner characters we were making. And granted, we already had Asmodee and Zagar at that point, but they were burning ammo in bizarre ways, and the mercenary system wasn't aligning with it either. And I think our mercenaries have improved drastically. I really like Spell Shield Aura out of the Knights. I think that's a really cute move.
I do too, because I'm still terrified to engage the enemy team if they're within it, and I just like yelling at my team like, what are you doing? Damn it. It's been in the game for a while. Run, you fools. Focus the wizard. Seriously, PSA, focus the wizard, please, everybody.
We got to take out the wizard. It even worked when it's on your side, you can see it. All right. When it's neutral, it's still there. You got to kill the wizard or your spells will be doing less damage to the whole thing.
Yes.
It's just invisible because it's neutral.
If you're taking the camp or if you're defending, kill the wizard first.
Always kill the wizard first.
Just kill the wizard first. It's fine. It's fine. Anyways, so link to the full post in the show notes. You can always find those at amove.tv/ITN. Find the blog post for the most recent episode is always linked at the very bottom. It's a Google Doc link. Go check it out. But we're going to wrap this episode up with a couple emails. Before we do that, we do want to thank those of you supporting us over at patreon.com/ITN. That is the opt-in subscription way to support Kyle and myself. If you like the show, if you get some value out of it and you want to give something back in return, whether you're giving us $1, whether you're giving us 10, everything helps. It does add up, and we very much appreciate the help, everybody. So go check it out, patreon.com/ITN. You will get access to the patron-only Discord. All you have to do is link your Discord to Patreon. It has built-in functionality, and then you'll just automatically, poof, be added to the patron Discord. You can do things like talk to us directly, drop questions in instead of hoping that it makes it through the inbox. It's great. Go check it out. And on this episode, we want to thank some of our newer patrons. Thank you to Harry O'Connor, Dead Center, and Louis S. or Louis S. I don't know how to tell the difference between silent S and not. I think it's Louis.
I think you did well. Yeah.
Anyways.
Thank you for the support, everybody.
Yes. Patreon.com/ITN. Now let's crack open that mailbag that may be from the inbox or from the patron Discord and answer a couple questions.
Darkness stopped calling.
Does anyone else hear that buzzing?
Hold on. Darkness just texted me.
You can send your emails to itncast@gmail.com or use that Discord we just mentioned. Ruben writes in this week and says, been listening for a while and always on Team League trying to climb. And always listening for a while. Okay. Your tips have been helpful, and listening to you has improved my game. I've been playing since Alpha and always saw some weird-looking traits come into a hero's toolkit. While I'm happy with most, some seem to stand out, such as Tyrael, Leoric, and Uther. While some of these have been buffed, how do you feel about traits that are only useful on death, like Tyrael? I feel, to me, it feels lackluster, and while there are one-offs for them, I don't think they bring any value to your character abilities or lore. Thanks again. Keep up the great work. I think there's some
that's a solid point, actually, about the lore, right?
I think there's some lore ramifications. I mean, Uther's popped up in spiritual form a couple times.
That's true, actually. Well, okay. Yeah, and Lee, well, I guess they're all... No, Tyrael's still kicking, though. He's just human-y. So he's fine.
Yes.
I think the weirdest one will always be Tyrael, because I just don't know how they came up with it.
I don't either. I think they had a kit, and they just decided, well, ship it.
Like, I get the throwing of the sword, because he threw a sword at the World Stone.
Yep.
Smite makes no sense, but sure. It's fun. Mario Kart track it.
I mean, Tyrael is an old hero.
Yeah, he is.
A really old hero, much in the same way of Arthas.
And Tyrael used to have a really cool place alongside multi-melee because of the death shield, which is gone. So they've taken away a lot of power from the go get your value and die Tyrael.
God, I miss that. I miss when you were just like, fight, let me die. Like, Kyle, guys, if you weren't around for it, you missed Kyle's heyday as Tyrael. He would just lead the charge, and you felt inspired. Like, you actually felt you were a paladin, man. You were inspiring those around you to continue fighting, because on the back of your death, we were going to crush them.
There was going to be a lot of shielding for everybody. There was opportunity to group up on purpose in that way. It felt good, and it was so rewarding as a player. Granted, there's an obvious counterplay, don't target Tyrael, and we have characters like that in the game right now. You know, Zul'jin, if he's in the back going, axe, 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 we all need to get him together, or Chromie, stop targeting him, because all you're doing is casually reducing his health, and he's going to be fine and do way more damage to us. A great tactic when you're fighting Zul'jin is don't hit Zul'jin at all. He wants it, and leave him alone, so he has slow attack speed. So there was a counterplay. It was when Tyrael's in your face, don't kill him, because he was going to make Greymane invincible, and it was going to be amazing. But sadly, that time has passed, and they removed all trace of death talents from his kit.
Yeah, but I don't know. Leoric and Uther's, I love their death traits. I think they bring a lot of value.
And we even got an email here from Leoric Did Nothing Wrong. Fantastic name. Not so much a question as a suggestion. Talk about heroes that have visual effects that display power or talents, like Gazlo's Robo-Goblin that gets new hands clams. Uther has that holy swirl when he's dead, but what if he got it when he was, about to die, or some things to communicate that they were going to be these things due to talents or heroic.
Right. He specifically gets the holy squirrel when dead if he picks the self-res.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But it's pretty subtle. So is Gazlo's thing. I mean, we used to, I think that on this show, the biggest example of that was always Tychus's minigun. Back in the Tychus heyday, we talked about how that particular activatable trait was such a subtle effect. Like the tip of the barrel of his minigun starts to glow red hot and gets a little like heat wave effect if you have your effects turned up high. But it's so subtle. Like if you didn't know what you were looking for, you wouldn't notice it. Honestly, Zul'jin's, he's pretty damn subtle too, even though he glows, but it's like one shoulder, and depending on which way he's turned, you can't really see it that well. Like a lot of these are very important visual indicators, and they're subtle as hell.
Yeah, Tychus is such a great offender of this, and I honestly didn't know that about Uther. For as much as I love, coming back redemption, it's not something I'm able to read in a lot of fights. In fact, when Uther goes down, I'm often hitting tab and going, is he coming back? Should I chase that? Where's it going?
That's the kind of thing. Yeah, the way I don't feel it's that important. I think it's a nice touch. I don't think it needs to be all that readable, at least around talents, because it's something that you can very easily hit tab, see what they picked. Now, something that's baked in, like your Zul'jin or your Tychus, there's an argument for maybe it should be more visual, although right now Tychus needs all the help he can get.
I think it's interesting, too, that the way they phrase Archangel's Wrath is, upon dying, become invulnerable, but then explode. Wait, what part of that did I feel invulnerable during?
God, I mean, yeah, it's like just play him and figure it out, I guess, right? Like, But if it was my first time ever playing this game, I'd never seen Tyrael before. I was going in and I was basing my hero pick only on reading his traits. I would think, oh, cool, I still get to use my abilities while invulnerable. It's like, no, you die first, and then you continue existing as a glowy, golden, spooky ghost, and then you explode. Like, you can't do anything but move. And
or
it doesn't
maybe it would work
convey
like
that.
Indestructible on Johanna. I'm going to get like a shield. I'm going to be invincible, and yeah, I'll be at 1 health. I got to get the hell out of there when it's over.
Good God, could you imagine if he had that?
Oh, that'd be great.
And it was
right?
just
That
an
sounds
auto
pretty good.
trigger. Like once every minute, if you were to take fatal damage, pop a shield of invulnerability for 1.5 seconds. Like that would be bananas. Like a self.
So you throw a sword over the wall, and you can teleport out, but for 1.5 seconds, you're going and getting in there.
Yeah, Paladins used to have something like that. I think back in the Wrath day of World of Warcraft, they had like this just auto save your ass. Like you don't even have to hit a button. And I'm learning how to tank in a warrior at the time. Like I'm trying so hard. Why does Paladin get an auto save?
Did they give that to Death Knights? Did they just be like, well, it's more of a Death Knight sort of thing?
Does Death Knight have an auto save? I don't think they do.
They got that. I mean, rogues have cheat death. I know that much.
Yeah, but there's a button you have to push still, right?
Oh, do you?
I thought you guys still Purgatory. Is Purgatory auto pop? Maybe it is an auto pop.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I haven't played a Death Knight since the middle of Legion, so I don't remember. But anyway, I got off topic a little bit there. But yeah, could you imagine that Tyrael worked the way you would think it would by reading it? That'd be kind of nuts, and I would play a lot more Tyrael.
And we do have a current issue with blinds just feeling like a bit of a bummer on a kit. I'd rather have a slow a lot of the times, even an attack speed slow, which I'm not a fan of. Just, oh no. I can't even, it's so difficult for me to come up with a situation where I want to slow someone's attack speed. Because if I hit it while I'm like, run friends, I've got them, slow their attack speed. And I'm going to run away too. Well, guess what? Zul'jin's going to go axe. Run. Axe. There's no point in that where I was standing versus Zul'jin and being like, now you're slowed by 50%, Zul'jin, take it. There was a big rise this week in picks on, I don't even know the name of it because I just ignore it. It's blue. It's sitting there at like level 16, 13.
What,
on a lot of
on
old
Zul'jin?
warriors. No, on old warriors like Johanna.
Oh, Joe. Okay, let me just. I'm just gonna pull her up because I don't know what you're talking about either.
I gotta find it.
Yeah, I'm just looking for blue talents around imposing presence.
Imposing presence. There are a few sadder talents in the world to me than imposing presence. Activate to slow attack speed by 50% and movement speed by 20% from nearby heroes and summons for 2.5 seconds. Heroes and summons that attack you have their attack speed slowed by 20%.
I mean, if you're dying to sustain, it's not a bad idea.
It could be okay.
You know what? You know why you don't like this, Kyle?
Why?
You know why you don't like this? Because you don't like the spell damage reducing talent on an Uberak either.
No, that's true. I don't.
And I gotta say, I've been taking a little more lately with the advent of people suddenly forgetting how to spread from living bombs. And just,
I mean, I love even before indicators, and indicators are great right now, and I don't want to begrudge them. Even before indicators happened, though, Sylvanas hitting that dagger, 25 minus armor, Stitches would just melt, and he'd have to learn what the hell happened. And the whole team, they didn't really know what happened either, but they know that they can now kill Stitches. So you just start doing it, and it felt really good. And now that we have indicators on them, I'm okay with this. But I'd really like to see spell damage reduction indicators. I would love if, just like all these spinnies we have right now, if there was a Nubarak hit you, oh no, 4-second timer ticking, Li Ming, 40% less damage.
What would you make it? Can we make it like 3 little hexagons above their head to like symbolize their 3 abilities with like a minus whatever?
Oh, that'd be interesting, right? Yeah, we got this whole armor circuit going on. We have keywords like unstoppable and killable.
Yeah, because if you're reducing auto, it'd be cool if there's a way to visually distinguish between reducing auto and reducing basic attack damage and reducing spell damage. So you know what to not be afraid of. Like, okay, don't be afraid of basic abilities. They're going to hit for less. Don't be afraid of basic attacks. They're going to hit for less, or they're slower, something of that nature. But at what point are there too many visual indicators, I guess?
Yeah. When the information is just overloaded and
it just looks like a Blade Runner billboard fiesta above everyone's heads.
Yeah, or it looks honestly like League of Legends does. I think that thing has lots of very unique indicators. And I'm really happy that Heroes takes the time to say, you don't need to know that Mal'Ganis hasn't hit you in the last 6 seconds with his X and does bonus damage to you. That could be Mal'Ganis' screen. That's his high five on Lucio. You don't really need to know. So we're not all walking with hands above our heads. And at minute 10, you're going, wait, what am I debuff? Am I cursed? Do I have curse of hands? Is there a new hero I don't know about?
I mean, sometimes when I'm the healer, I think it'd be nice if folks had that info so they know that they're in range or out of range of things I can do to save their butt. But
sure.
For the sake of clutter, I don't think it's important. I'd much rather save that space for armor reduction, man. That's way more information, way more important information to have displayed.
I do think that there could be a lot of cool stuff, though. I think Robo Goblin is such a great example of it. I think it'd be really cool if more characters evolved. It was something that after Dahaka, I thought might be a big feature of the upcoming Game Sphere. That, he grew a whole arm. That's pretty cool. You know, what if Probius's eye got brighter? Like, even minor stuff like that.
Yep. Do you want to see more death effects, or are you bummed on current death effects? Besides, it sounds like you're bummed on Tyrael's, which I am.
Yeah, I like the freedom of Tyrael. I think that it is, and the same thing goes for Imposing Presence right now. If you are solo tank and you do anything that makes yourself invulnerable, it's the problem with Johanna's Sky Sword business. If you disappear from the battlefield physically or just even health-wise, someone attacks you and your health doesn't move, that Vala goes, oh, well, Johanna's invincible. I'm going to walk by her. And you kind of want to make them think they got you. So you can do those blinding shields and get a big jump in the health and like, Arthas, I attacked him and now his ghouls regenerate. Oh, man. Like the big Arthas wins are when you're at like 5% health and you barely walk away and you're spamming that ghoul button as hard as you can. And around 25%, you end up turning back around. But there was that moment where the whole team thought they had you. And I'm not talking about like the reward of, gotcha. I'm talking about like the tactical mistake that you did not. You went for Arthas and you couldn't finish the deal. And now you're dead because the whole team collapsed on you.
Yep. All your cooldowns are into the target that's still alive.
Exactly. And those things are such huge. Any sort of vulnerability detracts, and Tyrael had that edge to him with the old Death Shield that I thought was so great. Nowadays, Tyrael just doesn't hold on to anything. His damage is way too low until level 10, and things can happen. 2 level ahead Tyrael, if you're Nova, Zagara, having a bad day, that guy will hunt you down to the ends of the earth. He will boost from off your screen into you. Who knows what other heroic, some Orphea might also be with it, and you're just dead. Like, Tyrael can put out some damage.
All I can think of now, Kyle, maybe because Ruben brought up lore, but your description of how an Arthas survives is kind of absurd.
Yeah?
Think of Arthas, the character. You know, that's so on brand. I remember all the times fighting Arthas when he would saunter away slowly, go behind a corner, and then return. Like, I guess it kind of has that boss kind of effect. Like, Arthas was, especially in Wrath of the Lich King, like, he would show up and terrify you. There was even that one dungeon where you just had to run away from him. as he walked
Yeah.
slowly towards you with his aura effect on. But I guess in an isometric game, it's kind of lame that you get to see him just hide behind a tree for a little bit before he comes back into the fight.
I got another request, and this is mainly because I just have a huge, maybe I watch too much Ancient Aliens, but I've got a huge love for After Effects glow eyes. Like anytime, and we're they aliens, and there's like a statue, and then they add glow eyes to it, I just laugh. I lose my shit. Like you take a picture of the cutest little hamster and give it red glowing eyes. I love it. Something about it. I love the meme. I don't know what it is. I love it. I would love if Alarak with his stacks just was burning out the eyeballs, like visually communicate how pissed off Alarak is with his current stacks.
I'd be into it. Maybe pick a different color. He's already so damn red.
He is very red. I'll give you that. Yeah, he's very red. But sadism, let's play with it. It's not the most important information in the world, because if Alarak's out of position, he's dead. There's so few times, like the Butcher's great in this way, but the Butcher needs to be kept down. You are constantly rewarded by not seeing that glowing axe and going, oh, we've played properly to this point. We don't suck. And then Butcher gets the glowing axe and you go, all right, we messed up. Got to be careful again. Stop the leaks. And I love that. I love that aspect.
Yeah.
More.
I do too. More of that. Bring it. Anyways, that's going to bring us to the end of this episode. Keep those emails coming. ITNcast. Was it what?
Nazebo needs one real bad. I'm sick. I'm sick and tired. If I'm not fake mad, but I'm going to be fake mad. After 5 years of playing this damn game, I don't want to look at the tab screen to see what stacks Nazebo has anymore. Can you just have a meter that fills? Just a potion bottle that overflows when it's over. Just, I don't want to have to share my bummers. We're pushing with the objective 4-stack, trying to get the top keep. And I look down and I see Nazebo on the mini map, and we lose the whole fight. And I'm like, well, he's probably just farming.
Maybe so you can click on it to let everyone know.
Yeah,
maybe,
that's his job.
Right. Maybe just every 25 stacks, just automatically broadcast.
Okay. All right.
I wouldn't mind that. I do that all the time on Butcher. Click on my meats. Like, this is what I'm at, guys. This is what I'm at. Just get me there. Just get me there, and we're gonna. I promise, we're gonna kick some ass. But auto broadcasts of stack levels for Butcher and Nazebo would be kind of nice.
Yeah. There's so many cool things they could do with it. Make his armor epic, upgrade it in some way. That'd be more visual.
Oh no, I just want it broadcasted and then like maybe a voice line, because I love when Butcher talks. It's hilarious. Just have a little voice line.
I'm at 25 minutes.
Just it says the whole I'm halfway there.
I'm half full.
Because Butcher is the eternal optimist. He is definitely half full and not half empty.
Yeah, I agree. Well, when you eat nothing but meat.
I'm pretty optimistic when I have a lot of meat. Makes me happy.
Yeah, good times. All right, that was my last one.
All right. Anyway, send your emails to itncast@gmail.com. Support us over at patreon.com/ITN. Go ahead on over there. Give us $1 an episode, whatever works for you. We appreciate it. Huge thanks to our producers, Declan H, Cheesy Bob, and Crusader Dave. ITN swag can be purchased over at shirts.amove.tv. Get into the Nexus emblazoned across your chest. Or if you'd like some custom etched glassware, you want an Into the Nexus pint glass? Well, head on over to etched.amove.tv. You can catch us live Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/amovetv, or follow the show on Twitter at ITNcast. But before we go, you should know that Kyle and I have another gaming podcast we do together. It's called Enter the Apex. We get together every Monday morning and talk about Apex Legends. And our roles are reversed, and it's quite interesting.
It's a lot of fun. In case you haven't caught the theme here, Garrett and I want to enhance your game experience. It's really fun getting heady, getting deep, talking about a game, but also you're busy. And when you get home, I want you to have a better game experience than you were going to otherwise. And plus, I will declare that I think this is a better way to consume something that might otherwise be clickbaity. Walk you through the news that you might find on the site that tells you can't handle the update. No, you can.
If you've ever watched a YouTube video or read a blog post or a Reddit post and thought to yourself, boy, this would be good with some nuance, podcasts are for you.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah, that's what we want to do. And that's why I get so bummed on days like this where I'm like, I don't have answers.
That's fine.
I just have grumbles.
Yeah, and we're going to weather the storm together, and we're going to use the /join a move TV in game to find awesome people to play with and not rage quit on, and we're going to have a good time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's fun. I enjoy being the one giving you the answers about the world of Battle Royales, Kyle.
I need answers desperately.
Well, go if that sounds interesting to you, go check out Enter the Apex. But other than that, what are you doing, Kyle?
You can find me over at twitch.tv/Kyle Fergusson doing all sorts of things. We added a new show, actually, to the week that you should check out. Thursday mornings, starting at 10 a.m. Pacific time, are a D&D hangout show where I'm giving DM advice, as well as Kristen doing some DM doodles. We work on characters for the weekends and generally have a good old time watching any. Thursday's kind of a big game trailer day, too. Watching game trailers, just chatting, and having a good time over on Twitch.
Ooh,
but also, there's Here's the Storm play and Apex, and check that all out.
This is news to me. That sounds awesome.
It is awesome.
That's a great idea for a show. You should have done that a long time ago.
I should record it and do something with it.
You're streaming it. You already have a recording of it.
That's true. I mean, like,
you have Premiere.
Give up.
Export that sucker.
Yeah. Title it.
Yeah.
Add some music. Make it a thing.
Exactly. Streams can be tough. It can be tough. To anyone who's like, oh, Garrett made it sound so easy. Why aren't you doing it, Kyle? Sometimes editing free-flowing chat conversations doesn't always pan out.
Yeah.
But that's rad, man. I'm excited for you. I'm Garrett Art on Twitter. 2 R's, 2 T's, and Garrett. That's how you spell it. I trust you know how to spell art. Everything's over at amove.tv. Check out the Angry Chicken. A lot of Hearthstone going on right now. We'll keep you updated over there. Already mentioned Enter the Apex, but you should really go subscribe to that. It's doing pretty damn well, man. I'm stoked how that show's been growing.
Yeah, I'm very pleased.
Yeah.
The game continues to do well as well.
Yeah, and I don't usually mention it because I feel like everyone listens to it, so I don't need to advertise. But I will be on the Instance tomorrow. That's a fun show. I enjoy being on it.
Yeah, you need to say that out loud. You do a rather awesome whole Blizzard podcast, but also Heroes or World of Warcraft deep dive with Scott Johnson over there.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It was the first podcast I ever listened to. It's really cool being on it. It's rad. So go check that out. I'll have a brand new solo show, R2T2, out very soon on the subject of Pokemon. You should go listen to my most recent episode of R2T2, which was about Halo. So go give that a listen. But that's going to wrap it up for this week's episode of Into the Nexus. Until next week. Oh, which I won't be here, by the way. Kyle, you'll be holding down the fort with Jeff Kanata. I probably should have announced that at the top of it. It doesn't matter. People will be fine.
It's fine. I'll say it at the top.
They'll figure it out.
They'll hear me and they'll be like, what? And then Jeff's here and it's great.
Yep. I'll be doing camera work next week. So I won't be here. I will be here for Enter the Apex, though. I'm not leaving yet. But until then, good luck and have fun. Do you got to say take care?
Oh, take care. I'm sorry. I was reading chat.